There is no other election where I haven't come back to the hotel and I've cried. Okay, there's this old lady I carry with me. As I was leaving Baitak, she literally holds my hand and says, "Ma, hamare rukha karo." Every time I would come back from hearing stories like that, I would pray to Ma Kali and I'd say, you know, what would happen to them if we don't win? What will happen to my people?
I'll forget those visuals because her face.
When she stepped out, you saw, and there are videos across social media, the women's response. They were holding her because it is almost like she became the representative of all of them. She became the symbol of the torment that the state's women had faced. When Modi ji touched her head and blessed her, all of us teared up, right? Because she's holding back tears. But you know, at that moment I knew she will win. But so one of my drivers saying, "Madam, इस बार बीजेपी जीतेगा." ऐसे आपको कैसे पता है? ये सुन के मन ही मन में तो लड्डू फूटते थे. But till it's done, it's not done, right? I said, क्यों बोल रही है ऐसा? He said, क्योंकि हमारे बस्ती में हर कोई टीएमसी का झंडा लगाता है, पर हर कोई बीजेपी को वोट देगा. टीएमसी झंडा was just protection, but each one, and that's what happened. So the slogan was "Chup chap, Kamal chap." I carried a pepper spray in my bag every single day that I went out. It's only now been kept away now that I'm back home safe. Imagine having to put CRPF on the ground and telling the women that you will not be raped if you vote for a party that you don't support. I mean, it is a travesty. As we pass that area, suddenly my driver takes my BJP phatka from the dashboard and hides it. I said, "Kya hua?" Safe area nahi hai, safe area nahi hai. Because Bengal's story has not been told enough, and for too long we have normalized the violence that has gone on, right? So that is my objective of talking to you today.
हेलो एंड वेलकम टू द पैम्फलेट. मैं हूँ निर्वा मेहता और आज हमारे साथ है आई थिंक सिंपलेस्ट वे टू डिस्क्राइब हर इज़ कि वो बीजेपी कार्यकर्ता है. काफ़ी टाइम से आपने देखा होगा उनको. शी हैज़ बीन एसोसिएटेड, शी वॉज विद ऑल्सो को इन चार्ज ऑफ द महिला मोर्चा इन द रिसेंटली कंक्लूडेड वेस्ट बंगाल इलेक्शंस. वी हैव स्मिता बरुआ विथ अस. वेलकम टू आवर शो स्मिता बरुआ जी.
Thank you, Nirva. Thank you for having me on your show.
नो आई थिंक देखिए, बंगाल इलेक्शंस तो हो गए, नई सरकार आ गई, सुवेंदु अधिकारी हैज़ स्वर्न इन एज द चीफ मिनिस्टर. आई थिंक एक कह सकते हैं कि ये जो जनरेशन है हमारी, वो एंड ऑफ एन एरा एक कह सकते हैं कि ममता बनर्जी इज़ नॉट ओनली एन नॉट एन एमएलए और एनीथिंग. शी इज़ मतलब नॉट ओनली शी इज़ नॉट अ चीफ मिनिस्टर, शी इज़ ऑल्सो नॉट एन एमएलए. ठीक है, तो कंप्लीटली डिमोलिश्ड सोटो से उनको फिर से खड़ा होने में इफ एट ऑल शी कैन, इट विल बी अ लॉन्ग लॉन्ग प्रोसेस. बट आप तो ग्राउंड पे थी, आपने काफ़ी क्लोजली देखा है क्या था कैसे था. आई वांट टू नो योर फर्स्ट यू नो कि how do you feel, how your first reactions to a the victory of the BJP and b the loss of Mamata Banerjee?
Nirva, it's been now almost 2 weeks.
Right.
It still feels unreal. I'm reading about it, I'm watching reels on a loop, obsessively watching dance videos when they're dancing to Pishichor, Baipochor. All of that is there, but the reality hasn't sunk in because the task ahead was so huge and the battle was so hard fought that it'll take time to actually believe that this is real, and we've managed to do the impossible.
Right. You talked about the reels. Reels scroll karte karte, one very haunting reel that keeps on coming is the BJP karyakartas. Okay, on the day of the election, once the voting was over, jab sare EVMs were being taken to the strong room. These the volunteers were following the bus which was carrying those EVMs.
And it was raining.
It was raining.
Yes, it was raining.
It made me feel, because I come from Gujarat. Okay,
Yes.
that is, I've never seen this kind of volunteer-run security arrangement for
Yes.
the EVMs.
Yes.
So for me to see that, it was little unnerving, and that made me realize कि it was such a huge thing. Because 21 के भी हमने elections देखे थे जहाँ poll violence was, it's a norm, it's an accepted reality कि ये बंगाल में तो ऐसा ही होता है.
Yeah.
First time बंगाल में ऐसा नहीं हुआ.
Correct.
So tell us how do you think that was achieved? Obviously, other than the fact that the CEC was very the company deployment of the central forces deployment, वो सब तो ठीक है, but on ground कैसे रहा the volunteer led movements जो थी? Please tell us about that a little.
Nirva, I'm going to break up this question into two parts. The reason, actually, as I said, I don't do interviews that often.
Yeah.
The reason I said yes is because I want the stories of my people to be told. Because Bengal's story has not been told enough. And for too long, we have normalized the violence that has gone on, right? So that is my objective of talking to you today. At the very onset, we were told in January that this is a team that's going to Bengal. Typically, when Mahila Morcha sends their team, we have women for all the districts. You know, we have X number per state. This time, only a handful of us were sent. Why? Because it was not safe. The party could not ensure, and obviously, when we go from outside, our safety is the party's responsibility, right? They didn't want any chaos, they didn't want to endanger us, and the party was worried. On the other side, my family and friends were worried because before this, my first election that I actually worked as a co-incharge was in Chhattisgarh, and Chhattisgarh mein bhi kahan? Bastar. Which in those days was Maoist infected.
Right.
The Home Ministers now made India Naxal Mukt, but that time it was full on a Maoist place, and I was stationed out of Bastar. Not once did my family say don't go. They were actually very excited. In fact, family में तो jokes बनते थे कि मिस्सी बाबा जाएगा जंगल में कैफे नहीं मिलेगा मिस्सी बाबा कैसे मैनेज करेगा पर मिस्सी बाबा मैनेज कर लिया बहुत अच्छे से मैनेज कर लिया okay and I enjoyed that election. There was no fear and so that was my first experience. After that I went to Jammu and Kashmir, again not the safest place.
Right.
But no complaints, never once did anyone say don't go. Then I get assigned to Bengal. Bengal is my sasural. I go to Bengal every year. I speak the language. I'm familiar as a bahu. And my mother-in-law, her first thing is Jashna. My sons, are you mad? Are you in Bengal? Say no. You can say no. You don't have to say yes for everything. So there was this, and my friends were like, Bengal ja rahi, pagal hai, na bol. So here in Chhattisgarh, they're not saying no. Bengal, which is supposed to be the, in a certain set, it is supposed to be the paragon of democracy and freedom and all those things nice. And women's safety.
Correct, women's safety.
Because they keep talking about how women are so empowered and there's feminism, because you have a few mouthpieces who constantly parrot that and gaslight the population. And yet, having seen the reality on the ground for people who didn't have blinkers on, it was a scary place. But I thought about it and then I said yes. And as I told the people on the ground also, I said, I didn't want to take up this assignment in my gut, but I came because I cannot sit in Delhi and say, go fight and, be Bahadur and then sit here myself. It doesn't work like that, at least not in the BJP.
Right.
You have to walk the talk. So that is how I ended up going there. But Nirva, I had written to someone halfway down that I think at the end of this process, I'm a mental health therapist. That's my day job. Politics is my passion. It's not my profession. Mental health therapy is my profession. And I had written to a senior leader and I said, I think after this process, I will need therapy myself. I will need trauma therapy because what you read in the papers, when you read something, it doesn't have tonality, it doesn't have tears, it doesn't have actual fear. You're just reading something you can switch off. When you meet people on the ground and you see the abject state of terror that they live under, then it's quite something. So the first time when I came back, I narrated some of the instances. And a friend of mine in the media, who's a very dear friend of mine, she sent me a pepper spray. She said, Smita, promise me that when you travel, you will travel with this. And for her, I carried a pepper spray in my bag every single day that I went out. It's only now been kept away now that I'm back home safe.
Wow.
It was like a kavach ki kisi ne kisi tarah agar attack kar diya. At least I won't go down without a fight. Because that is the mindset we went with.
Wow. See, this is where जब ये सब when you talk about these incidents that safety becomes one of the prime concerns for people around you. इसमें 94% of voting.
Yes.
unprecedented voting.
Unprecedented. Incredible.
I can't wrap my head. Out of 100 people, 94 people went ahead and voted. Gujarat mein, in my home state, 55-60 तक मतलब one of the most prominent states की जहाँ पे business minded है ये सब है वो निकलते ही नहीं वोट करने या क्या है पता नहीं बट यहाँ पे 94% are voting.
And I'll add to that. In any kind of conflict, who are the first recipients of all the horror? The women.
Correct.
And who voted in larger numbers? Women. Both in phase 1 and phase 2. Data shows that.
In fact,
so imagine the level of bravery that it took for the women to say, नहीं हम तो वोट करेंगे और हम तो बदलाव लाके ही रहेंगे.
But which is where, see, women voting, I was talking to someone, they were telling me that intimidation of voters.
Yes.
At their prime area, motive is to stop the voters from at source. So घर के बाहर they will sit कैरम बोर्ड लेके ऐसे बैठेंगे जो लोकल गुंडे हैं एंड जैसे ही कोई दरवाजा खोलेगा स्पेशली द विमेन बोलेंगे अरे कहाँ जा रही हो चलो ठीक है वहां से आप निकल भी लिए तो फिर गली में आपको कोई आके रोकेगा और बोलेगा अरे कहाँ जा रही हो आपका वोट तो हम डाल चुके हैं
करेक्ट
अरे in such a situation how do you live in constant state of fear and still so if इस बार अगर वोटिंग बीजेपी को पिछले साल भी दे हैड अ मेजर जंप इन द वोट शेयर एंड ऑल बट ऐसा तो नहीं था कि this happened overnight. This intimidation has been going on for years.
But after 21, see, before that, we moved from 3 seats to 77.
Right.
That's a huge jump. So we essentially became the only opposition to the TMC. What happened then is the TMC suddenly realized, okay, these guys are dangerous. And that's when they unleashed a reign of terror, unlike anything we have seen in democratic India. And I say that in full seriousness. Because we had over 300 of our karyakartas who were killed. Innumerable women who were raped. And the reason you don't hear their stories is the police was in cahoots with the administration, with the powers that be. They would not lodge an FIR. Women would lodge an FIR, then they would be dhamked out, they'd take the FIR back.
Right,
because Nirva, you don't understand the fear psychosis till you actually go and meet the people. Okay, so let me give you this example of Jadavpur. I go to this village. Jadavpur is just next to Kolkata. It's a part of the Kolkata, the constituency. So I go to Jadavpur. I think, okay, modern hoga. Nahi, gaon hai wahan. Hum baithak kiye. In the house where I'm sitting, there are parts that are peeling, parts that are broken. And this woman very casually, it became so normalized that she's telling me, I'm not going to repair the house till after the results because if we lose, they'll break our house again. This woman and her family had to live away from home for 6 months. And consequently, their brother's wife, they have nothing to do with the BJP. They're not party related in any way. It's just the older brother and the wife are BJP karyakartas. So when the house was broken, they had to flee. But even the brother and the wife had to flee. The brother's wife was 9 months pregnant. Raat ko, us gaon mein, they had to escape, find a train, then stay with relatives. So what is the cost of that?
Correct.
The cost is there is real cost on the ground. The brothers don't speak to each other. Because the younger brother is saying, because of your BJP affiliation, we had to be so tormented, so I have nothing to do with you. So why has he done that? Just as a get safety card.
Right.
So that is tragic. So I'm sitting in that thing. Then there is a bunch of women because the host started speaking. Other women said, we have a small shop. We have only one cycle. Because Amra BJP kori, that's what they say. Amra BJP kori, tai, they burnt the shop, they beat my mother-in-law, and they stole our cycle. So basically, you beat them, you threaten them, you terrorize them, and in the case of over 300 karyakartas, you kill them. And with women, you molest them or you rape them. And you need to do it enough so that the fear psychosis seeps in. So after that, when a man sits outside your house and says, "Kahan ja rahi ho?"
Right.
You remember what happened to the other women and you're paralyzed. Chalo, himmat karke you've stepped out of your house. Gali mein rokenge. Kothay jaccho? Kake vote debe? Vote ta to hoye geche. Because they have gone and done farzi voting. You reach the ballot. Even then, you somehow reach. The vote is taped. The BJP either we've seen that. Now it's not a mythology. We've seen images on TV where they've taped the BJP symbol or they put bubble gum. And then fear works. They had perfected the art of vote rigging and they had perfected the art of instilling fear. So you must have read about the ether or the perfume. What did a perfume on a BJP button do?
Right.
The implication is, when you vote outside, we will smell your finger. And if we can smell the perfume, we will know who you voted for.
Wow.
So you can't beat the system. Either way, we will find out. And then when you lose, because of course you will lose, there will be reckoning. And as I said, reckoning happens in many, many ways. If you're lucky, you get away with a beating.
Right.
And if you're unlucky, you die or you get raped.
Oh.
And even as I'm saying it so casually, my heart is palpitating because there is no other election where I haven't come back to the hotel and I've cried. Okay. There's this old lady I carry with me. As I was leaving Baitak, she literally holds my hand and says, "Ma, hamare rakha karo." Do you understand what it means? Ma, hamari raksha karo.
Correct.
What you do at that point, because we are just early into the campaign, right? We are all fighting the fight of our lives, but we don't know what the outcome is. We're doing the best.
At some point, you'll come back to Delhi.
No, and the thing is, yes. So these stories, I told my Kaka Sasur was visiting and I was telling him some of these stories. And he asked me a very serious question which made me pause. He said, "Beta, how does your conscience allow it?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "How can you justify to yourself that you go to these people and you ask them to come out and vote and fight?" So I said, "Kaka, I am not asking them to fight. They are fighting. Therefore, I and the people who have gone from outside, we are standing with them. We are supporting them. We are helping them organize better. Right. I cannot, in any person with a conscience cannot come and say, go lado, knowing what lies ahead if they lose. For me, it is a party victory. BJP victory is a victory for India. It's a national security issue. So then for me, as a national citizen, it's an important victory. But for the person who's fighting on the ground, it is about their astitva. Correct. It is about their homeland. It is about their entire identity. It is about their religion. So they were fighting because they had their back against the wall and there was no option. So I only stood with them. They were the fighters. I was just a supporting team. Okay. Right. So, but Kaka's question is pertinent. Correct. Because some days I would come and say, when you're sent from Delhi, you're meant to know better or you're supposed to have some gyan, which I clearly didn't. And yet you can't show fear. Every time I would come back from hearing stories like that, I would pray to Ma Kali and I'd say, what would happen to them? If we don't win, what will happen to my people? Right. I'm getting emotional even as I speak because truly, even on the 23rd, the day of the counting, the day, the first day of the voting, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at about 3 o'clock and I had just done my Siliguri Vibhag. All the 5 districts of the Siliguri region. And I had driven all the way up. And they were the ones who were going to vote first. And all I see in front of my eyes is the faces of all my Zilla heads and all the women. Subah saj dhaj ke aate hain, sundar cotton sari pehen ke, gehne pehen ke. If you see the Bengali women, chakha pola pehen ke. Acha didi aaj ke khane, this is our meeting, this is our thing. And so I'm seeing their faces and I'm thinking, they have done everything. They've staked. मैंने हर कुछ तो दाव पे लगा दिया है. Right. अगर अब हारे, उनका क्या हो? They have far more to lose. Correct. And so I'm obsessively checking the voting percentage. As the percentage goes and it is over 93%, I'm like, okay, ये लोग तो बच गए. At least there is ample numbers here. They're going to be saved. Then the next thing is, because first phase was more or less pro-BJP, the second phase was our difficult areas. And there also we've swept and look at the numbers we've had there. It is great. Right? It is incredible. But I'll tell you what helped. One is the organization on the ground and the presence of the CRPF and the EC saying we will have cameras in every booth. The goons will not be allowed. Building societies. They wouldn't let people come out from the housing societies to vote. Can you imagine? So they said, ab housing societies mein hum booth karenge. So you don't even have to come out. So nobody can stop you. They had to do so many, and there was CRPF everywhere. When I saw them, my heart would do a little dance. I was like, okay, they are here to protect us because the local police, as I said, were in cahoots. When you went to a gas station, they were there. When you went to a chai ki dukan, they were there. When you drove around, they were there. So that, I think, that
This
visible
actually
presence.
feels like a war-like situation.
Nirva, it was a war. It was a war. There is no other way. I mean, imagine having to put CRPF on the ground and telling the women that you will not be raped if you vote for a party that you don't
Right,
that you
right.
don't support. I mean, it is a travesty. And what upsets me the most is the level of denial that the rest of the country was living under.
Which is true. I mean, I think for me also, if I say that giving the tickets to getting to the mother of Abhaya victim, and even Sandesh Khale victim, who was one of the, she's also both of all of them one. Uh, I think. I personally feel they should not have been part of the politics. It's not something they chose. They were made to do this at some point because the justice failed them, the system failed them, which is where they probably took the route where they became the public representative to make sure no such other victims, no other mother has to go through it, no other
Correct.
woman has to
Yeah.
go through it. So I think as a party, the BJP has given them a voice.
Yes.
But if I were to see it from an outsider, non-media, non-political circle person, this level shouldn't have come.
It shouldn't have come to this.
It shouldn't have
Yeah,
come to
yeah.
this.
Ratna Devnath ji.
I-
She
I-
had
it's-
only one daughter. She spent her entire life working to make this girl a doctor. And then she lost her. And then the state failed her
The
spectacularly.
state failed her.
And the BJP, God bless them, gave her a ticket because she became the symbol. And again, her seat was not an easy seat. Huh? People think, acha, wo to aise hi jeet gayi. Nahi, aise nahi jeeti. When she stepped out, you saw, and there are videos across social media, the women's response, they were holding her because it is almost like she became the representative of all of them. She became the symbol of the torment that the state's women had faced. And remember, this is a state that worships Shakti. Durga Puja is the biggest festival there, right? And jahan bhi jao, you've traveled on the ground. Every village, every town will have Kali Ma temples. And Kali Ma is the Ugra form of Durga. So she's not some passive goddess, right? In the land of Kali, you had this level of atyachar on women. And then you had the lipstick elites glibly telling you, oh, there is feminism. How is that feminism?
Women are the safest in Bengal. Women
Your
were so
own
safe.
CM is telling you don't go out after 8.
Yeah.
And how are the women even respected when Ratna Devnath ji, when she got the ticket, when she's going, on the one side, the women voters are coming, hugging her and weeping. On the other side, the TMC people are heckling her.
I saw
and
those
saying you're
videos.
mercenary. Which mother? I mean, today, if you ask her, would you have preferred the ticket or would you have preferred her daughter? What do you think she would have
Obviously,
chosen?
she's going to pick her daughter.
1,000 times over, she would have picked her daughter's life, right?
But you did not give her the justice.
You didn't give her the justice. She stood because she wanted justice for the daughter. And God bless the BJP again, and God bless Subhendu ji, because they've reopened the case.
Right.
आपने पूरा हादसा के बाद तो you didn't even do a second autopsy. You cremated her.
Right.
And then you destroyed the scene of the crime. And then you just botched up everything.
Horrible.
And the nation is watching. But I think somehow, I have to say this, as an English speaking person myself, I have to say this. Our nation, unfortunately, because of the colonial handicap, we get very dazzled by English.
Right.
So कोई अगर थोड़ा posh accent में English में बोल दे ना, तो that becomes the gospel truth. So they had these English speaking spokespeople who dress smart and smoke smart, and they did all the gaslighting and all the the muddying the waters.
Right.
So here you're doing atyachar on women, there they're saying, oh, we are so empowered and Bengal is so safe for women and Bengal is so feminist. So there is incongruity of a different, yeah, and there's incongruity of the worst kind. And I have told my family when I came back that much as I dislike the TMC goons for what they have done, I actually have complete contempt for the enablers, the guys who hid what was happening, because the guys on the ground, you can still say, theek hai, rozi roti ka sawal hai, they also have families, they're probably fearful because they'll be killed. So it's almost like a hafta, ki we will do TMC so that my family is safe. But these guys, there was no money excuse, there was no fear excuse, they did it for power. and for, the cynical politics. That's it.
And it's sad because these are the women MPs who have seen far more politics than probably I have, and they're gaslighting women. They're saying, "Oh, just Sandesh Kali was a
That's why
BJP
I say I
propaganda."
have absolute
You
contempt, because there is no excuse. Somebody holds a gun to your head and says, you have to do a certain thing. I will understand. You're only doing it for self-interest, and you're selling out your women, you're selling out your state, you're selling out your country in the long term. Because today, West Bengal is in a situation where it's a national security crisis.
Right.
But again, I come back to my women on the ground. Despite all the horrors that I've said, despite knowing that in any election, when you have a democratic election, you fight, you do your best, but victory is not a given.
Right.
You only know till the last vote is
Correct.
counted.
Correct.
So if I was sitting in Delhi having sleepless nights, imagine the plight, and they would so casually say, "Didi, এবারে না জিতলে কিন্তু আমাদেরকে খতম করে দিবে." That means, Didi, if you don't, खत्म कर देंगे हमको.
Yeah.
हाँ दीदी, এবার তো জিততে হবে, মেরে ফেলবে. They say it so casually because it's normalized, and then I was losing my mind, because when I was coming to Delhi, also people were normalizing. When I would tell them stories, apart from my close friends who understood the gravity of the situation, बाहर के लोग, अच्छा हाँ, बंगाल में तो violence होता ही रहता है. अरे,
नहीं होना
across
चाहिए.
the world, no, Nirva, across the world as we speak, there is a rape happening a minute.
Right.
Across the world,
Right,
correct? Those are the statistics. Do we say rape is okay? No.
Absolutely
So
correct.
how is it okay to say violence is okay? ऐसा ही होता रहेगा, which means ऐसा ही होता रहना चाहिए. Young 18, 19, 20 साल के लड़के, you will hang them from trees and then you'll pretend it's okay. It is not okay. It will never be okay. And it's time that people speak up and call it out for what it is. It is a travesty, it is perversity, and it is not democracy by any chance. Anyone who claimed that Bengal was a democratic place so far is a liar, or they're complicit in the crimes. Or maybe they're delusional. Talking about delusion, the reports, the results came. So then I'm a part of one of these elite WhatsApp group, and I'm watching the conversation. I didn't respond because, sometimes I think मेरा सर फूटने वाला है, मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूंगी, नहीं तो झगड़ा हो जाएगा. I'm just watching. So they think, अच्छा, but we didn't know that it was so bad. How come? Very strange. Very strange. No, it's very strange that you were so deluded and you were an ostrich. You're educated. You should do your research, na? You had just said, अच्छा, बंगाल तो ऐसे ही रहेगा, भाड़ में जाए. The other thing is, अच्छा, there is so much level. I was in Calcutta for a week, but I didn't see this wave.
Yeah, right.
Arey bhaiya, you go with that attitude, they're not going to tell you, because one, they don't trust you. They will think you will report to the administration, and then the minute you leave, there will be consequences. They'll come and raid your home, or they'll break your home, or they'll throw your stones, or they'll heckle your women when they step out, right? So that is the fear, or they don't like you. Because if you're so deluded, and also Kolkata is not Tollygunj, Bengal Club, etc. आप वहाँ गए, फिर आप क्रेस्ट मॉल में जाके शॉपिंग किए, फिर गोरियाहाट में थोड़े नेटिव्स के साथ घूमे, वो बार्गेन शॉपिंग कर लिया, फिर नंबर 6 बालीगंज में जाके अपना खाना खा लिया, एक प्ले देख लिया, बस. That is not Bengal.
Yeah.
That is elite Bengal that lives in a cocoon. The Bengal that lives outside, you have to talk to the people. So my driver, again, drivers are, now they are mocked because you use the driver. Yes, he's made drivers a mockery. But every time, so I went to Bengal, total in this things 8 times, right? Because I would come home for a short period, then go, and then last stint, so I stayed 1 month in one go. But so one of my drivers saying, "Madam, इस बार BJP जीतेगा." ऐसे आपको कैसे पता है? ये सुन के मन ही मन में तो लड्डू फूटते थे. But till it's done, it's not done, right? I said, क्यों बोल रही है ऐसा? He said, क्योंकि हमारे बस्ती में हर कोई TMC का झंडा लगाता है, पर हर कोई BJP को वोट देगा. TMC झंडा was just protection, but each one, and that's what happened. So the slogan was "Chup chap, Kamal chap."
Right.
Even when which one was the voting agency, the survey agency, where they said the voters are not telling them? Of course they won't tell them, because if BJP doesn't make it, there will be bloodbath.
Correct.
And you guys will go back and say, "Oh my God, so sad. These things should not happen in a democracy." Right to op-eds, and then go back to sipping champagne with the same lot, na? Sorry, I am very passionate about this, and I get very angry when I speak about Bengal.
That these are the conversations when we talk about elections. Everyone talks about stats, data,
Yeah.
ego. No, I want these stories need to be talked about people because, as you said, people don't know.
People don't know,
people
and
don't
they
know.
and I suppose, because it's such an uncomfortable truth. Uh, sometimes it's just easier to say ठीक है दुनिया में जो भी हो रहा है मेरी दुनिया आबाद है मैं ठीक हूँ and that's it.
Right.
But India, no part of our country is expendable. If one part is hurting, the whole country is hurting, right? And given Bengal's strategic location, it is critical for Bengal to be healthy and flourishing, for India to flourish. You can't have one side of the country, racing ahead and one side lagging behind.
Which also brings me to Bengal sharing a large part of its border with Bangladesh.
Yes.
So security has always been an issue. The Mamata Banerjee always had issues with the center. BSF के लिए land नहीं दूंगी, and Suvendhu Adhikari obviously.
Imagine a CM saying on a national security issue, land नहीं देंगे, क्या कर लोगे? And the media here is moo. Fevicol से चिपक गया है. It's not an issue because there are two types of media, right? No, actually three types. One which tells the stories that need to be told. That's a small section. The second is ठीक है यार कौन इतना लफड़े में फंसे, because the minute you go to Bengal you'll get FIR. So why endanger your staff, why endanger a lot of other states in India. Let's focus on that. And the third section which is complicit.
Right.
So every time there is one murder, then they will do whataboutery, or they will come up with some nonsense story to kind of divert attention. So the fact that a CM did not give land for fencing should, in my opinion, have been a huge story. The fact that Bengal still hadn't started the census operation is a big story. The fact that when you go, as I said, I've covered, so from Kolkata all the way to Shiliguri, I have driven. I would go, stop at a zilla, meet my people, go. Okay, and I traveled alone with the pepper spray and the driver. And there you see the demographic invasion is real. I don't need some statistical data to tell me that. What is visible is in your face. And a lot of them are not our people. Nobody's saying our people need to be disenfranchised or any harm should come to them, because they are Indian as much as you and I are.
Correct.
But I have no sympathy and I owe nothing to the people who have come in millions from across the border. And they were given ashray, they were given documentation because they became a vote bank. And that is how you ran the reign of terror.
And then there was also gaslighting because a sitting MP says, oh, why would anyone from Bangladesh want to come to India?
Yeah.
Hello.
But dude, they are, right?
They
are coming. And over time, I have seen Kolkata, right? If you go near, forget Goria Hut, if you go to New Market, it's all these shanties because there's no jobs. And people are desperate, they're poor. So they need jobs. So, bas, andhadhun, you let them set up any shack they want. The chai ka dukaan, ye dukaan, falana dukaan. And then you collect hafta from them, because hafta was at every stage. As I was driving on the highway, some parts of the highway are under construction. For instance, near Murshidabad, it looks like hell on earth. There's tuta buildings when they have broken the houses to widen the highway. And then we do our constructions very shabbily. And there's dhool on the trees, there's dhool on the houses. And as we pass that area, suddenly my driver takes my BJP phatka from the dashboard and hides it. I said, kya hua? Safe area nahi hai, safe area nahi hai. So, hoshiyar, thank God for that. But in my own country,
in your own country,
so I'm like, what the hell? I mean, agar mera bus chalta, if I didn't have two kids, I would say, damn it, I'm going to have a flag there and I'm going to show you this is my land.
Yeah.
Why should I be living in fear? But anyway, there's no. I didn't think there was reason to be foolish.
Yeah, not the hill
so
to
we
die
did what we had to do.
Okay, before we conclude, one last question. Okay, you have been the Modi 272 was the campaign, but times have changed. Things have. It's been a long time.
Correct.
How do you see the social media influx now versus then, and how do you see the say volunteering for the BJP and the social media part of it? How do you see the campaigns taking shape going forward? For different states, for example, UP is coming up.
Yeah.
and also for 29? How do you see
See,
things?
the social media game has evolved. That's 12 years. 12 years ago, the mediums that existed and the mediums that exist today are completely different. And all of us have aged. I came for Mission 272 Plus. That's how my journey with the BJP began. And a lot of the volunteers have been fit into the party in some form. But a lot of new people have come in. And some of those people are ideology driven, and some of them, as it happens with anything,
Correct.
are there for it's a business.
Correct, correct.
But the thing is, the ideology driven ones are still holding the flag today. And they have a value which cannot be replicated. People who do it as a business also have their space. I'm not going to discount that because people have families to run. Secondly, all the new things, if you can't give them rosy roti, how will they feed their families? And you need new blood in, you need narratives. We were the guys who sat in the trenches not knowing whether Modi ji would come to power in 2014, huh?
Yeah.
But these guys who've come in have come to a bana banaya system.
Right.
So the thrill, the old timers, when we hunker down and we talk about the good old days, the thrill of fighting together against all odds is a different experience altogether, and which is why our bonds are so strong. BJP brought us together, but now we stayed together. We like, football club के जो fans होते हैं ना, we like that. We're BJP junkies. So कभी कभी कोई नाराज भी होता है, मैं और नहीं करूंगा, कोई पॉलिसी पसंद नहीं आई, बड़बड़ाया. But they will never say it outside because it's family.
Yes.
You don't wash dirty linen in public. And these are not paid people, right? These are volunteers or people who are supporters.
Right.
But there's a honor code that अपने लोग हैं जो कहना है internally बोलेंगे, बाहर जाके we will not bitch. And secondly, some people will leave my group also. I have a group called Modi Once More, which is a volunteer group which we activate only during the general elections.
Right.
So they will go, leave, they'll fight with somebody, they'll leave the group. 2 महीने बाद they will come back. Because जाना और कहाँ है. परिवार तो यही है.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Smita for joining us. I think it has been a fun conversation, and I think slice of life conversation about Bengal. The side of Bengal we generally don't get to see, especially politically. It's too noisy, too loud, but these are the real stories. The women, the karyakartas, people on ground who I think other than the BJP volunteers wala, the in rain part, the Ratna Devnath, unka jo tha.
Yes.
Those visuals of on one side being heckled by the TMC fellows and other side women, I don't think I'll forget those visuals because her face, Ratna ji's face.
Modi ji touched her head and blessed her. All of us teared up.
Yeah.
Because she's holding back tears. But at that moment I knew she will win. At that moment I knew Ashirwad hai and she'll do it.
Well, and I hope in the justice delayed is not justice denied for her, and I think Bengal deserves better. And I'm glad things are looking up for Bengal.
ये नया सवेरा है. Bengal will thrive.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.